Today, let's talk about something that sounds boring, but it's the reason most traders never make it: faith in the math. Not faith in the vibes, not faith in your intuition after 3 coffees, not faith in this one feels different. Faith in the math. Because if you're profitable on paper, but emotional in real time, you're not a trader. You're a statistic that hasn't realized it yet. Look, everyone says they want consistency, but what they really want is certainty. They want a system that never loses. They want a model that's right every time. They want confirmation before the outcome exists. And trading doesn't work like that. Trading is a probability business that attracts people who hate uncertainty. That right there is the conflict. If you genuinely had a profitable system, fully backtested, rules-based, edge-proven, you would still lose regularly, often, sometimes 5 times in a row. Sometimes at the worst possible moment for your confidence. That's not a flaw, that's the fee. Most traders don't blow up because their strategy doesn't work. They blow up because they abandon it mid-sample, they override it after 2 losses, they revenge trade to fix variance, or they resize because their emotions got too loud. They didn't trust the math when it mattered. If your edge only works when you feel confident, it's not an edge. If your system only survives good weeks, it's not a system. Backtesting doesn't exist to make you feel good. It exists to replace emotion with expectation. It's not there to say you'll win this trade. It's there to say over 100 trades, this behavior produces profit. That's it. That's the deal. Anything else is fantasy. But here's where people mess this up. They say, okay, I get probabilities, and they proceed to trade like this trade is the one that defines them. They forget that the outcome of a single trade is meaningless. It's not evidence, it's not feedback, it's noise. One loss doesn't invalidate an edge. It's just like flipping one tails doesn't mean that a coin is broken. Think about how ridiculous this sounds in any other context. Imagine being at a casino and saying, black hit twice, shut the whole thing down. Imagine an insurance company panicking after one payout. Guys, stats are wrong, burn the spreadsheets. That's how most traders operate. Professional math, retail emotions. You don't get paid for being right. You get paid for executing correctly over time. That's a major identity shift, because once you understand this, the goal changes. The goal isn't win the trade. The goal becomes execute the system flawlessly. Profit becomes a byproduct, not the mission. And that's the line that separates amateurs from pros. Professionals are comfortable looking wrong in the short term because they know that they're right in the long term. Amateurs need to feel right immediately. That's why they tweak. That's why they hesitate. That's why they second guess. They don't trust the math and they trust their emotions more. And emotions are terrible for statistics. If you never lose trades, you don't have an edge. You have a fluke. Losses are not a bug in the system. They're a receipt that you're actually participating in probability. A strategy with 0 losses isn't advanced. It's untested, curve fit, or imaginary. Most traders subconsciously believe this. If I take a loss, I did something wrong. That belief alone will destroy you. Because now every red trade feels like failure, stupidity, regression, emotional damage. So what do? You interfere, you tweak, you hesitate, and boom, now you became the variable. Here's how professionals see a losing trade. It's just one data point inside a large sample. That's it. No meaning, no drama, no identity crisis. They don't ask, why did this trade lose? Did I execute my rules? If yes, then it was a good trade, even if it lost. That sentence alone rewires your brain. A losing trade taken correctly is a win. A winning trade taken incorrectly is a problem. Retail gets that backwards. Retail celebrates money. Professionals celebrate process. Because process compounds. Luck doesn't. Backtesting already told you losses would happen. You knew this was coming. But when the loss actually shows up, your brain goes, okay, but not like this. You see imaginary clues. You say things like, I should have known. No, you shouldn't have. If you knew, it wouldn't be probabilistic. If you remove all the losing trades from a backtest, you also remove the profits. They're linked. Same edge, same behavior, different outcomes. Trying to avoid losses is how you avoid consistency. This is where most traders sabotage themselves without realizing it. They change their system because of normal variance. 3 losses, they tighten their rules. 5 losses, they stop trading. 6, they look for a new strategy. But the system didn't break, their confidence did. Let's get real for a second. You don't need fewer losses, you need emotional survivability. You need the ability to take losses without reacting. Because once you start reacting, you stop following the math and start trading feelings, and the feelings don't scale. If your behavior changes after losses, your edge eventually disappears. Edges only work when applied consistency, in good conditions and bad conditions, when you're confident, when you're bored, and when you're annoyed. And especially then. Losses are the cost of doing business, not punishment, not feedback, not a warning sign, just probability paying rent. Once you internalize that, trading gets quieter, cleaner, less dramatic, and ironically more profitable. Here's how it usually plays out. You backtest a strategy, 55 to 60% win rate, clean rules, positive expectancy. You know intellectually that losses cluster. You've seen it in the data. But then real trading starts loss, loss, win, loss, loss. And your brain goes, okay, what if this time it's different? Not because of math, because of pain. Humans are terrible at randomness. We are pattern addicted creatures. So when losses stack, your brain invents a story. The market conditions change. This doesn't work anymore. I need to adapt. I've outgrown the setup. No, you're just in a normal rough patch, but it feels personal. You don't start by trusting your system. You earn trust in your system. And you earn it the same way you earn trust in anything real, by showing up the same way over and over when it's not comfortable. Most traders say they don't trust their strategy yet. What they actually mean is, I haven't executed it long enough without interfering. That's not a system problem, it's a patience problem. Think about how backwards this is. You'll trust your phone's GPS after one wrong turn, a restaurant after one bad meal, a crypto influencer with an anime profile picture. But you won't trust a backtested trading system because you lost twice in a row? Respectfully, relax. Trust isn't built by winning. It's built by watching the mass survive losses. Anyone can believe in a system when it prints. That's easy. That's ego. Real trust shows up on trade 3 in a losing streak, when nothing feels good, and your monkey brain wants to change everything, and you don't. You execute anyway. That's where the edge actually forms. Here's what most traders do instead. They win 2 trades. This works. Lose 1 trade. Maybe it's broken. Lose 2, I need to refine my rules. Lose 3, new indicators, new time frame, new personality. Congratulations, you just reset the statistical clock. Again. You can't judge a probability engine while constantly unplugging it. That's like stepping on a scale, turning it off mid-measurement and saying, yeah, this thing's inaccurate. No, you are. That's why journaling matters, but not the cringe way. Not how did I feel, but did I take the trade I said I would? Did I size correctly? Did I exit according to my rules? Because the goal isn't profit at first. The goal is mechanical reliability. Profits are the byproduct of doing the boring things well, when they don't feel rewarding yet. Stop tracking money as your primary metric. Track accuracy of execution, rule compliance, sample size completion. If your P&L is red, but your execution is clean, you're actually winning. But if your P&L is green, but you violated your rules to get there, you're borrowing confidence from the future. And the market always collects interest. Most traders don't fail because their system doesn't work. They fail because they never let it work out. They reduce size after losses. They increase size after wins. They emotionally weight trades differently. That's not probability. That's improvisation. And improvisation has no long-term expectancy. Trading isn't about being right today. It's about being statistically aligned long enough for reality to catch up. You will lose trades, sometimes several in a row. That's not failure. Failure is abandoning the math for emotion. Trust the system, honor the sample size, execute like a machine, because in the long run, the trader who respects probability always outlasts the trader who chases certainty, and that's how real consistency is built.